Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to come on and do a love reading, and I felt really called to this deck. I'm actually, both of the decks that I'll be using today, including the tarot deck, are by this author, M.J. Cullinane. And this is the Urban Crow Oracle, and this is going to be a love reading unless something else comes out that's clearly not about love. But this feels like a love reading. And this morning I actually had some crows that were hanging out around me. There were a few sitting on a fence, and then they were in my yard, and I was outside working out, and they weren't afraid of me at all. They were just hanging out near me. So that's the reason I felt really called to this deck. So crows could be symbolic. But let's get into this reading. Let's see what you need to hear about love. Oh, that looks exactly what I saw this morning. Was the crow wasn't on a branch, but it was on a fence. But anyway, whoops. Let's see what you need to hear about love today with this crow deck. So you'll know if this resonates with you by the energy that's coming out. So Spirit, what does the viewer need to know about love from the crows? What do you need to know? The crows can also symbolize growth and transformation, but also protection. So it could be that you're being protected right now, or this connection is protected. Interesting, the last time I used this deck, this was the first card on the bottom of the deck that time as well, and it's number 3. That's so interesting because I was thinking about that card today. So we have anticipation, and number 3 is Empress energy. So you could be, oh, and we have Lover's energy. That's beautiful. So it feels like you're manifesting. You could be manifesting communication from this person, because we have Magician energy, we have Empress energy, and we have Lover's energy. Look at that. And I was hearing something about this connection is protected, so it could be divinely protected. And just know that if you are in some sort of separation right now, it's, divine protection. I'm also noticing that there are 6 crows on this card. And this anticipation, you could be anticipating a conversation or communication with someone you feel Lover's energy with. We have Taurus, Libra, Gemini, Virgo energy coming out right away. So you could be tending to your inner garden. You could be nurturing your own energy. You could be not chasing this communication or not chasing this bond. And you could be anticipating that it comes towards you when the timing is right. For some of you, you could be anticipating new love or trying to manifest new love, but we have something about boundaries here. So it feels like, I don't want to say it's new love because it doesn't feel like new love to me. I'm also seeing something interesting in this image, which there are 5 crows up in the tree. So it could be that within this connection, some wounds were triggered, and perhaps some actions or arguments came from a place of self-sabotage. You could also be, the fact that there's 6 crows all together, you could be anticipating moving into calmer waters or reconnecting with someone. And like I said, we have the Lover's energy right underneath. So clearly you feel a lover's bond with this person, and the lover's bond is not an easy one because it's meant to evolve you. It's meant to help you grow. But yeah, basically it looks like you're anticipating and manifesting reuniting or a close bond with someone here. So let's see what we need to hear. What does the viewer need to hear? We have distance. So there's clearly distance between you and this person, and it's communication. Yeah, exactly. So it feels like you're anticipating communication from someone you're at a distance with. And the fact 14 is the energy of temperance. So something Sagittarius energy, and 9 is the energy of the hermit, which is Virgo. So we also see 3 crows on this card. So it feels like you are in separation with someone. That's exactly what I was hearing. And right before that card came out, I was going to mention I just got this like wave of cold. And I was going to say somebody could feel left out in the cold here, or your person could have left you out in the cold. But definitely, temperance is the energy of being patient. So it feels like perhaps you've needed to be patient for this communication that you're anticipating and manifesting here with this person you feel a lover's bond with. Temperance is also about the rebalancing of energies. And I mentioned how I saw 5 crows on the trees in that anticipation card. So it could have been that someone was acting from a place of fear or self-sabotage, and maybe there needed to be separation in order to rebalance the energies. Maybe there was something off with the energy. There could have been an energetic imbalance. And if you resonate with a counterpart connection, which the Lovers does talk about a divine connection, it can be it is a known thing in counterpart connections that when you're not aligning on the same frequency, the separation is used to rebalance that energy. But anyway, it feels like you've had to be patient for this communication that you're anticipating. So definitely someone you're at an emotional distance with or a physical distance with in 3 of Swords energy. All right, let's keep going. What does the viewer need to know? We have resistance. And that is, look at that, 4, balance. Exactly. Exactly, Spirit. So it feels like someone was resisting something here. And what I want to talk about, because we also saw number 3, which is the Empress, and we saw 6, Lovers. Now we have 4, Emperor energy. And what I'm hearing is you could have been dealing with someone who was resisting this connection or resisting going within into hermit energy. They could have been resisting giving to this connection in some way. And it could have felt like you were fighting an uphill battle, because we see this crow as like resisting going with the flow. They're resisting and flying towards this wind. So you could have been, like I said, dealing with someone who is resisting this connection. The other thing I'm hearing is you could have been resisting going into separation with this person. You could have been fighting against the current, is what I'm hearing. So again, that energy of feeling like it's an uphill battle. Perhaps the universe wanted, or perhaps this connection needed to go into separation so that there could be a rebalancing of energy. The fact that we have temperance is about balancing feminine and masculine energies. And we did see feminine and masculine energies with the Empress and the Emperor. So you could have even been chasing this connection or resisting going into separation. And perhaps you needed to stop fighting it and kind of release it and go with the flow. You could have been holding on to it. And I always talk about when we hold on to something really tightly and it's not aligning, it's actually causing blockages. So you could have had to surrender it, open your hands. There's a lot of 1s and 4s here as well. So you could be manifesting this person coming in divine masculine energy. We do have balance here. So it seems like whoever you're connected to needed this time, needed this separation, needed the distance in order to balance their energies. They could have also been resisting going within. I think I already said that, and doing the inner work. Maybe you were resisting going within and doing the inner work. I'm kind of hearing that this could be a counterpart connection here. So there could have been like a runner-chaser dynamic. Interesting. So let's see what else needs to come out. Let's get another one. All of a sudden I'm freezing. We have preparation and we have scavenge. So I'm just gonna look 4-4. Oh my gosh, there's such a message of protection here. Can I just say that? And that's what I was hearing when I first picked up this deck is, you know, if you're not talking to this person, divine protection, it was for your own protection. Or you could have even been protecting your energy if this person was in like distorted masculine energy. I just want to look at scavenge. It's kind of giving me like 8 of Pentacles energy. Let me look. Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So there's a very clear message here with scavenge. You could have been resisting letting this person go to the point where, remember I said it could have felt like you were fighting a never-ending battle, or you were fighting against the current, fighting against the wind. An uphill battle is what I was hearing. Scavenge is about accepting less than you deserve. And remember I talked about balance and something being off balance. So you could have been like really ready to invest in this connection. And you could have been resisting going into separation. You could have been resisting putting boundaries up, resisting putting distance between the two of you, to the point where maybe you were ignoring your own intuition. Our intuition, I'm still working on writing everything out for that video that I'm going to do. I'm planning on doing it tomorrow. But you could have been making decisions based out of fear here, which is what I was talking about with the 5 of Swords. Self-sabotage. And the very clear message about scavenge is that you were accepting less than you deserved. And it even mentions like accepting crumbs. So if you've ever heard the term breadcrumbing, I'm not saying that this person was doing it intentionally, but there could have been like very much an energetic imbalance between you and this person. Because like I said, scavenge is about accepting a crumb and accepting less than you deserve and staying in that situation. I'm also seeing the Tower, which is about delaying the inevitable. So I feel like this situation had to go in, it had to collapse because it was unstable, it was unbalanced. And when we're in that Tower, I'm hearing divine intervention, but the universe will show us signs, little signs that the Tower is shaky and that we need to get out of it, like breadcrumbing, accepting less than we deserve, feeling like, you know, the person we're connected to is resisting the connection, feeling like there's self-sabotage happening. And with the Tower, we can see the signs and get out of the Tower, or we can stay in the Tower delaying the inevitable. And I feel like the Tower had to come down to rebalance the energy, which is what I was talking about with Sagittarius energy. And the Tower in reverse is about delaying the inevitable and like staying in that Tower, resisting the falling of that Tower. This person could have been giving you just enough to make you think that they would change, or to make you think that things would get better. They could have been saying that they would try more, that things would get better, but not following through with actions. And now I'm going to talk about, you know, how inconsistency and this accepting crumbs of connection, closeness can really, it can also, how can I put this? It can become addictive. And I'm not saying that you were, it becomes subconsciously addictive. Like we're chasing something. Because when somebody shows us 2 times out of 10 that they love us or that they have time for us, but the other 8 times out of 10 they're being inconsistent, it's that hot and cold behavior. It creates a push and pull, and we can become attached to that push and pull. And the way that I describe it is it's like a slot machine. And, you know, when you sit down at a slot machine, most of the time when you pull the lever, you lose, you lose, you lose. But every now and again, you win. And it creates this, like, almost like a dopamine hit that, well, if I keep trying, I'll win something. If I keep putting my money into this machine, I will be rewarded. And you also get this energy of, it's like a fear of walking away from the machine, because it's like, well, what if I walk away from this machine and then somebody else comes along and puts the money in, and then they hit the jackpot after I've sat there for hours waiting for that jackpot. And you can kind of, I like that example because you can kind of, like, you could have been afraid here. You could have been acting from a place of fear here, holding on, resisting going into separation, resisting speaking your boundaries or asserting yourself, saying, I don't feel like you're giving me what I deserve. I feel like the energy is imbalanced, because you could have had a fear that if you walked away from this person, all of a sudden they would change. And then the next person who crossed their path would get like all of their energy and would get consistency from them. And that's just not, if they were being inconsistent with you, they're going to be inconsistent with the next person. I'm also hearing cognitive dissonance. Like, you could have, that inconsistency, that imbalance of energy can create cognitive dissonance where your head and your heart are at war with each other. Where your heart is, you know, I always say it can go one of two ways. The first way is that your heart can be telling you that you deserve better. Your heart could be telling you you need to take care of yourself and put up a boundary. And your mind, your fear, could be telling you, but if I give this up, I'll never see them again. If I put up boundaries, they'll leave me. If I walk away from this, what if they're everything I want them to be for the next person? And it creates this push and pull between your head and your heart. Or the opposite, your head could be telling you, if I just, like, your heart could be, I feel a soul contract with this person, they're my counterpart. I just get the energy of like a head and heart at war with each other, so cognitive dissonance. And I just feel like, again, with the scavenge card, it specifically mentions accepting less than you deserve. And with the resistance and distance, I feel like you were resisting putting distance in between you and this person. All right, let's get another one. We have preparation on the bottom. So it feels like you were being, like you're being prepared for something better here. As long as you keep accepting less than you deserve, that's what you're going to keep getting, right? All right. And especially with the imbalance here, that's what I meant about the Temperance card. When the energy, like imagine the Temperance card or the Justice card, how we have the two, like on the Temperance card, we have the 2 cups. And a healthy, balanced relationship is like this, you know, water, energy, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you are pouring, 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 and then they pour, and you're pouring, and I don't know if you can see, but like I'm seeing the Justice card. Imagine the cups being on scales. So you're pouring, 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 and then they pour a little, and then they pour a little, and then you pour more and more. It becomes unbalanced. And I've often showed you guys how energetically the cords between you, when it's balanced energy and you have cords between you, the energy goes like circles or travels through the energetic cords. If you are the only one sending the energy or giving the energy and they're not reciprocating that, those cords become twisted and the energy can't flow between them. Connection can't be built through an imbalance of energy. You can't build that closeness, that intimacy. Anyway, I feel like you're anticipating communication from this person. But at the same time, when you're in a connection like that or a situation like that, you can't just keep accepting less than you deserve for fear of being alone or fear of losing that person, because you have to take care of yourself. You deserve more than a crumb. You deserve the whole can. Let's get one more. Yeah, communication, exactly what I said. So that is the last card coming out for you, communication. So I do feel like there's communication coming from this person. And I feel like that's what you're anticipating. All right, communication after Hermit energy, after self-reflection. And it's going to be important when this person comes in with this offer that kind of looks like a cup, right? It's going to be important when this person comes in with communication that you voice your needs, that you voice your expectations, that you set a boundary for yourself, that you will no longer accept crumbs. You will no longer accept less than you deserve. You will no longer fight for someone to love you and give to you. Maybe this caused arguments in the past. And those crows that I saw, they were all sitting on my fence. And that's like the first thing I heard was protection. We also have a knife here, which to me is symbolizing Ace of Swords energy. So just remember, when this person communicates with you, you deserve balance. You deserve not to have to, like I said, fight for someone to reciprocate energy. All right. I really need to get a Crow tarot deck, I don't have any tarot decks. I have an Edgar Allan Poe deck, but isn't that a raven? I know there's a difference. But like, I really need to get a Crow tarot deck. So the reason I chose this deck is because it's by the same person. So we have the Three of Wands on the bottom and we have the Queen of Cups. Interesting. So you could be making a lot of progress and growth on your self-love journey. And the thing about the Queen of Cups is that the Queen of Cups does have a tendency to overgive when she slips into her shadows. And I'm not saying that you're a female, but the Queen of Cups does have the tendency when, you know, dealing with wounds or shadows, that they overgive. And you could have been dealing with a King of Cups shadow who was putting in very little effort, and then it becomes imbalanced. And I feel like you've made a lot of growth and progression in your own self-love journey and learning how to fill up your own cup. Look at that. We have the Nine of Wands and the Ace of Swords. So it does feel like you're hoping for communication from this person. So let's have a look. And like I said, the amount of fours here, and I got chills as I started, when I'm saying this, I'm getting chills. If you put up boundaries and this person left you in the cold, rejected you, it was for your own protection. If you were giving and resisting separation and accepting crumbs and accepting less than you deserved, and this person ghosted you or there was an ending between you, divine protection, divine intervention. Because sometimes when we are not willing to get out of the tower, like I said, Archangel Michael throws us out of that tower for our own protection. So let's have a look here at what's happening. We have the Magician, same energy, yeah. So you could be manifesting communication. The Magician, Gemini and Virgo, is linked to communication. We have the Ace of Pentacles, something stable. I don't know why I heard that. What is that from? I just heard something stable this way comes, but that's not the line. Isn't it something wicked this way comes? What's that from? Why am I hearing that? I heard something stable this way comes. We have the Chariot. Yes. Interesting. And look at that. That's that heart that was on that Lover's card or the Bond card. Interesting. Cancer energy. I was actually, when I was looking at the Queen of Cups, I was thinking about the Chariot because there was a crab on it. Water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Let's see. I love this deck. Page of Swords. Somebody is interested in talking to you. This is called Guardian of the Night Tarot. So someone has been wanting to talk to you here. Look at them with their paw on that sword. There were also poppies, which is about remembrance. There were poppies on that Bond card that we saw as well. So Page of Swords is about getting more information too. So this person could be watching you trying to get more information. That's also a reminder to you, like I said, about how when this communication comes in, and notice how I'm saying when, affirm it. Don't say if, say when. When this communication comes in, it's going to be important for you to get more information before, you know, jumping into anything, because you want to make sure that things are going to change, things are going to be different. You don't want to repeat accepting less than you deserve, right? You want to make sure there's growth. This does symbolize, yeah, exactly. We have the Devil energy. So you want to make sure that there's been growth and that both you and this person are more self-aware. This could also be symbolic. We have Capricorn energy, the Page of Swords and the Devil. The Page of Swords is about learning. So you could have learned, or maybe you're learning it right now, a very important lesson about how energy works and about how we can become codependently attached to energy, which is what I was just talking about with that cognitive dissonance and that hot and cold push-pull energy. We can actually become addicted to it, remember? So maybe you're learning about that. Maybe you're learning about that within this reading. That's why it's important that we communicate and, not accept less than we deserve. And if someone's not reciprocating our energy, we have, don't keep over giving, right? All right, that could also be someone obsessively watching you. So let's see. What do I want to ask first? Well, let's just get a card for what you need to know. What do you need to know? What do you need to know? We have the King of Swords. And we have the Four of Swords. All right, so someone has been reflecting about you, my friend. That's another thing that I heard. At one point it was I saw 4 crows this morning and I thought of the Four of Swords and it made me smile. Oh, I colored a picture of a hedgehog last night. I can't remember what the meaning. Immediately I looked it up. What is the spiritual meaning of a hedgehog? It is about protection. It's about other things, but maybe I'll post it later. I'll post this picture that I colored and the spiritual meaning of it. Anyway, we have the King of Swords here, so air energy, and the Four of Swords. So someone has been, there was definitely a break here with the Four of Swords. But the Four of Swords, it is about, you can see the 3 swords here. So there's a separation. And then the Four of Swords represents rest, healing, clarity. It's quiet that brings clarity. And this little hedgehog is on the Ace of Swords. With the King of Swords, you could have been dealing with someone who, maybe they did hold back communication, or they were sparse with communication is what I'm hearing. This could have also been someone who had a hard time taking accountability. And perhaps, like I said, you needed to put up boundaries with this person, or perhaps they became cold and detached for your own protection. But this is definitely someone who is sitting on clarity right now. They have clarity about the situation, and it feels like they are getting ready to communicate with you. We have the Ten of Pentacles on the bottom. So it feels like this break could have led to long-term changes, like changes that will benefit this connection in the long term so that those cycles don't repeat. Let's look into your person. We have poppies again. So I feel like someone is thinking about you. This communication could come in November. 4 weeks is what I'm hearing. That would bring us into November. The poppies are giving me November energy, and then we have 4 weeks, but let's just keep going. Let's look at this person. Show me this person's energy. Show me this person's energy. Yeah, we have the Seven of Pentacles. And we have the Five of Pentacles. What did I say? Didn't I say I was feeling Five of Pentacles energy? Thank you, Spirit, for that confirmation. Yeah. I was starting to feel really cold. So we do have Five of Pentacles energy, and you can see, this is so interesting to me. You can see an owl about to take flight here. So someone who is feeling very left out in the cold here from your energy, missing you, is about to take flight. What's even more interesting is we have a caterpillar here. So this is someone I feel who's going through some sort of transformation. We have an owl here, and here we have them taking flight. So wanting to come in out of the cold, but waiting for the right time to do so. So they could be waiting until they transform, for example. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles. And again, the Seven of Pentacles is about waiting. So this person wants to invest in this connection. They want to come in out of the cold, but it's like they're waiting for the right time, maybe until they have more stability. We also have what looks like a black widow spider. Now, I know the black widow has an hourglass, I believe, and that's technically not an hourglass, but there could be, like they could be feeling apprehensive that you may reject them with that energy that I'm seeing, and the fact that we have the Five of Pentacles. That could be a fear of rejection. I'm gonna see what your energy is. What is your energy? We have the Knight of Wands and the High Priestess. That's interesting. Knight of Wands for your energy. And the High Priestess. It's very, I'm hearing that's more about your person, if I'm being honest. And I'll talk about if it's you first. But as soon as that came out, I felt I feel like there's a message about your person in there. So I'll talk about you as the Knight of Wands first. And then I'll talk about what I'm intuitively hearing. So, your energy, courageous, energetic, charming, free-spirited. You could be, see, this is why I did this. You could be charging ahead with a creative project, maybe to do with your intuition or with light working. Hello, mission. Exploring things outside your comfort zone. So maybe holding back your energy and being silent and guarded with this person, which is High Priestess energy, maybe is outside of your comfort zone. Maybe you're someone who would always reach out to them, or who would always, maybe you're not someone who just goes quiet on someone and stops resisting and stops fighting for a connection. It could be totally outside of your comfort zone right now to be remaining silent with them. It also talks about travel. So you could be thinking about taking a trip. It also talks about trying new activities. So you could be trying new activities, especially when it comes to spiritual things with the High Priestess. But back to what I was saying. What I immediately heard was that right now, High Priestess, you are trusting your intuition. It's also, we see this bat here, and you can see how the bat has its wings kind of protecting its body, as bats do when they're not flying. So it gives me Hanged Man energy. So it feels like right now you are taking a pause, being silent and guarded, trying to trust your intuition. Maybe even having new perspectives, maybe new perspectives during this reading. The thing that I find interesting about the Knight of Wands being here is that I was immediately hearing that you are being silent and guarded, possibly with a situation where the person was hot and cold and inconsistent, or a runner or a player, because that's what I was getting up here. So the fact that the Knight of Wands came out for you with the High Priestess, you could be trusting your intuition and being silent and guarded right now. Because maybe, you're figuring out that you deserve more than that. We also have the Ten of Wands, which I kept talking about. The Ten of Wands, an uphill battle, right? This resistance. So you could have been dealing with someone very inconsistent. We have the Two of Pentacles here as well. So you could be cognitive dissonance. So you could have put these burdens down and stopped trying to swim upstream. Remember, I talked about swimming upstream, swimming against the current. So you could be reflecting about this, gaining new perspectives, and trusting your intuition right now, and kind of being silent and guarded with someone who, you know, was inconsistent with you, was hot and cold with you, created kind of this cognitive dissonance in you where you felt like you were carrying more of the load of the relationship. And then we have the star. So healing that is what I'm hearing, healing that cognitive dissonance. You know, when you are in a connection where you're giving, and this is the thing that I don't think people who show up inconsistently understand, is that when you're dealing with someone who's inconsistent, even if it's not their intentions, when you give and give and give and give to someone like that and drain your cup, you drain your energy, it actually leaves you emotionally burnt out. So you could be healing, you know, an emotional burnout here, or a completely empty cup, and learning how to fill your own cup up. Anyway, High Priestess, I like it. Divine Feminine energy as well. So you could be, you know, trying to embody more of this Divine Feminine. Like I said, you could be trying newer activities that have to do with spirituality and divination. Let's see. I want to see how you feel about them. How do you feel about them? Oh my gosh. We have Temperance. And we have the Hanged Man. And also flipping out, we have the Four of Pentacles, which I'll put on the bottom. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Three of Swords. So think about everything I've mentioned. I mentioned Hanged Man. I mentioned Temperance. I mentioned the Three of Swords. So clearly you're in separation with this person. You could be frogs. You could be trying to release and cleanse and heal your energy because of what you went through with this person right now. You're also trying to be patient, right? With the Temperance card, I feel like for how you feel about them, I do feel like you would want balance and harmony, maybe reconciliation with them, but you're trying to be patient, and you're trying to reflect and surrender to this pause, to this separation. It's interesting because the Four of Pentacles can really be symbolic of not feeling like you can let go of a connection, like a soul connection. And with the Hanged Man, maybe you're having a hard time letting go of this person's energy. Temperance also talks about an imbalance of energy. So you could be getting a new perspective now that you are not in cognitive dissonance and feeling confused. You could be gaining new perspective that, oh yeah, I was accepting less than I deserved. Something was out of balance here, and I was resisting it. So you could be gaining a new perspective about what you want moving forward in a relationship. And sometimes I talk about it as like changing your order with the universe. You know, I use the analogy, or whatever it's called, metaphor, I don't know what the right term is, for, you know, you sit down at a restaurant, you order a meal, and they bring you the wrong meal. And you're like, that's not what I want. I don't want that crumb. That's not what I want. But because you have you're a people pleaser, or you have a fear of speaking up or asserting yourself or being a bother to others. Again, this is an analogy or a metaphor. Maybe you just eat what they put in front of you, and then you're sending a message, you know, well, I'll just accept whatever. So maybe you stopped accepting whatever and you told the universe, no, I want something different for my future. I want something balanced. I want something harmonized. And I'm okay being alone until I find that. You know, that changes your vibration. It changes your order with the divine, your order with the universe. Anyway. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see how they're feeling about you, my friend. How are they feeling about you? We have the Ace of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. Oh my goodness. So listen, look at this for how they feel about you. Happiness, overflowing emotion. I do feel like they feel like you've changed. You've changed your order, remember? But I feel like they feel like you gave so much love to them. Look at this overflowing cup of love. I feel like you gave them so much love. And look at this, Six of Pentacles. So they know they've had like an emotional awakening that if they're to come in, they need to give you more emotion. They need to put in more effort. They need to give you reciprocity. With the Six of Pentacles there. Death. So Five of Swords. I also said I saw the Five of Swords. So this person could be realizing that by not meeting you where you were, not giving you equal give and take, it caused an ending here. And that if they want to come back in and not self-sabotage it, they need to transform. I'm still getting like, for some reason, I'm still hearing a month. Four of Swords, a month. Ace of Cups, a month for communication. So Ace of Cups, there's clearly love here for you. And I can see that this person feels like you are a giver. Let's get another one. There's also here, we have this bird who has its mouth open. And it has 3 pentacles on it. So that's symbolic of wanting to get on the same page, wanting to work things out. And actually the Six of Pentacles can talk about, the shadow aspects of the Six of Pentacles can talk about breadcrumbing. All right. Let's get another one for how this person feels about you. We have the Two of Wands, preparing to leave comfort zone. Yeah, so this person preparing to leave their comfort zone, and this little red bird, I keep seeing it, is symbolic of communication as well. So this is someone who, for how they feel about you, there is kind of a fear about coming towards you. I feel like intuitively they're being called to communicate with you. You know, this is someone who feels like they could see a future with you, and they feel like they need to make a decision before you move on, is what I'm hearing. There's definitely the energy of wanting to reunite with you. 3 of Cups on the bottom. Before you move on. Let's see what their intentions are. What are their intentions? You went on the floor. We have Judgment. The bird. I love this deck. I should really use it more. Look at this snake shedding a skin here. These are their intentions. We've got the poppies again. And now we've got 4 poppies. 4 weeks, I'm telling you. So this person's intentions are to shed that past version of themselves. This is someone whose intentions are to do like self-evaluation and then resurrect something here with you. Look at that little red bird. I mentioned the red bird is symbolic of communication, but they've also got their mouth open. What's on the floor? We've got the King of Pentacles and the Hermit. So this person's intentions are to be, that's so interesting. This person's intentions are to do a lot of self-reflection and soul searching, and then invest in this connection. King of Pentacles is about long-term stability. So this is someone who wants to be stable for you long-term. We also have a magpie here, and magpies can be symbolic of counterpart connections. So their intentions are to work on themselves before coming forward. I feel like they're already working on themselves. But again, if you were in that type of situation, that work wasn't being done, well, I think they were resisting it. And I think that in order for this like self-evaluation and hermit energy to happen, there's a reason it's called the Hermit card. You need to be on your own. So when you're kind of resisting coming out of that tower, Hermit energy can't happen in that tower. It happens in separation. But they want to resurrect something here with you. They want a renewal after a period of self-reflection. So actions this person is taking. What actions is this person taking? King of Wands. They're working on their king energy. Look at all the kings we have coming out. Thank you, Mr. Crow. And look at the snake that we just saw on the Judgment card. This is bold action here. Oh gosh, there's a truck outside. So they could come in unexpectedly, but this is about bold action. This is about taking control of the situation. See the wand right here, Ace of Wands, movement. Bold action. Can I confirm that King of Wands, please? Oh, yeah, justice. And I mentioned justice. I mentioned the scales and how energy can't, listen. I mentioned how energy can't flow if it's unbalanced. It gets twisted. And your energy was the bat upside down protecting its energy. Remember? We have the Three of Swords in reverse, which is about making amends. One thing I wanted to mention is when I was looking at the Ace of Cups, I was seeing, I was hearing something about your person getting a lot of signs and synchronicities about you. So this is about making amends. This is about healing. It's about reconciliation. It's about apologizing. And paired with the Justice card, this person, you know, their actions are going to take bold action towards you and take accountability and apologize. They're going to be honest with you. They're going to open up to you. Look at this. I want to see, I keep hearing 4 weeks, so I'm just going to ask Spirit what that's about. What is this 4 weeks timing that I keep hearing? 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We have the Fool. Thank you, Mr. Crow. So in 4 weeks, it looks like this person is going to take a leap of faith towards you. The Fool represents a new beginning. Aries energy, Libra energy, fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We also have Virgo. What is your advice? Just without even looking, my advice for you is to be very open and honest about about your expectations in this connection. What you will and will not accept, and that you're no longer willing to accept less than you deserve, that you want consistency, you want balance, you want honesty. Very interesting that they had 3 kings come out, which makes me wonder if they're still working on their King of Cups energy. What is your advice when this communication comes in? What is your advice when this communication comes in? We have the Eight of Wands. So that's like just Spirit furthering, confirming communication. But there will be rapid change and rapid growth, but communicate honestly. Communication. When this communication comes in, the way you communicate will be very important. And I feel like you'll see that they've changed. We have a hawk there, so I do feel like something's changed. Now we have a plane, Ascension. Taking off. I feel like things are going to take off very quickly. So just, again, Make sure you communicate what you want here. One more advice for when this communication comes in. Queen of Wands, be confident. Six of Swords, moving into calmer waters. So you will be moving into calmer waters. This connection is transitioning, but your advice is to be confident and to know your worth and to not accept less than you deserve. Have the confidence. I just want to say something, like let's say this person comes back in and then you're so happy to see them that you don't tell them how they're hot and cold, inconsistent, unbalanced energy affected you in the past. And you're just hoping that it will all blow over, and you're afraid that if you say something, they'll leave again, or be cold with you again. Then you're just, again, delaying the inevitable, because inevitably that's probably going to play out again. So stand in your power with the Queen of Wands. Speak from a place of confidence. Don't fear independence, is what I'm hearing. Also, we have the King of Wands when they take action, and you're the Queen of Wands. So I do feel like they're going to be matching your energy. That's also symbolic of, a lot of passion. Interesting. So maybe, don't rush into bed or anything. Although I am not your mother, I can't tell you what to do. And I'm not saying make this person earn it, but just be careful not to rush into anything. All right. And we also have Judgment. Oh my gosh. So again, honest conversation. If you want to resurrect things, you need to be honest. Look at what's underneath that. We have the King of Cups. All the kings are here. So make sure this person has done self-evaluation. Make sure they're ready to put in the effort. Okay? All right. So I'm just going to get a couple of these channeled messages for you. I've been using them a lot, but whatever. I like them. So what does this person want to say? I'm actually going to get this card for the cover. Hang on. There we go. And I'm going to get that one. All right. What does this person want to say? What does this person want to say to you? What does this person want? You are the only one to set boundaries with me. That is very interesting to me. What the heck is this? Hello, welcome to the reading. Random card. That is so strange. That deck is across the room on my shelf. I lost myself for a little while. Interesting. I am going through a dark night of the soul. I am completely lost, broken, and searching for answers. So this person has been through an awakening. I am studying you, the Page of Swords. I am studying you and trying to find out as much as I can about you and your family. I watch you on social media. Or just about you, I'm hearing. I am learning many spiritual lessons because of you. This journey has been a roller coaster. What's interesting is I think your journey with them has been a roller coaster with the inconsistency, the ups and downs, the hot and cold. I never believed in love at first sight until I looked deep into your beautiful eyes. So instant soul recognition, that's, people who don't know what it is call it love at first sight, but it's soul recognition. I am transforming, but I need to do this alone. Didn't I say that? To figure out who I really am. I want to be the best version of me for you. I said that. I said it. I mentioned they have to be alone. They can't hermit in this shaking tower. There is a decision to be made, the Two of Wands. And I am scared to make the wrong move and lose you forever. That's exactly what I said when the Two of Wands came out. You visit me in my dreams. I cannot escape the thoughts of you, and I need to feel your body on mine. So clearly they're dreaming about you right now. And if you're dreaming about them, that's a good indication that they're dreaming about you. You are the only one to set boundaries with me. At first, it upset me. That's something that I mentioned. But I know you did it for your own good. So you could have been the one to set boundaries, and maybe that was put distance between you. I ask myself if I am who you truly deserve. You deserve the world and more. All right, my friends, so I'm going to leave it here. I am sending you lots of love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.